Cajun accent. I grew up here. I was born in New Orleans and lived there 5 years. And then my father moved us down the bayou to Montague, and we came here. And so this is where I grew up. Is that better? All right, I'll start over. Not from the beginning. I'm Brenda Leroux Babin. As I said, I grew up here. Went to public school from the time I started in first grade at Elysian Field School until I graduated from Houma-Terrebonne High School in 1979. Shortly after I graduated, I began college. And when I entered college, that's when I thought, trying to decide what I want to do with the rest of my life. I decided I wanted to make a difference in the public school system in Terrebonne Parish. So I went into education, thinking that's how I could make a difference in the public school system in Terrebonne Parish. My father was a teacher. My mother was a secretary at Elysian Field School forever. My grandmother was the head cook at Montague Elementary School. My grandfather was the janitor at Montague Elementary School. My other grandfather was the janitor at Edgard High School in Edgard. So with all this public school in my DNA and my background, that it just seemed fitting that I would go into education. So I majored in English Ed at the time and began teaching at Nichols State University. And at that time, I knew that I wanted to do more than just teach. I knew I wanted to make a difference. And I thought about running for school board way back when I was 22 years old. I was getting ready to qualify, and a friend of mine who was our landlord at the time was helping me get ready to qualify, and he passed away in the midst of all of that. So I backed off and decided, well, I'll just teach. And teach I did. So 17 years I spent in the classroom teaching English and then mathematics and computer science. And then I was offered a position at Lumcon down in Cocodrie and as the IT manager there. And I spent 10 years there managing their IT program and serving education in a different way. Still not ready to run for school board because it was a state agency, and when you work for a state agency, you can't have that dual whatever it's called, dual office. So again, I left Lumcon while I was working on my PhD in oceanography and coastal sciences and began teaching at Fletcher. And that's when I realized you can run for school board if you're teaching in a university setting. So the timing was right. So I went down to the registrar for the qualifying place and qualified to run for school board. That was 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, the people of District 5 chose me, Brenda Leroux Babin, to be their choice, to be their voice on the school board. And that's what it's all about. It's all about service. It's all about serving my district, serving my community, and being that voice for my community on the school board. Different stakeholders should have a voice in the decision-making process on the school board. All the way from the child sitting in the classroom. They need to have some kind of voice with the school board members. All the way to the business community. One way that we can give the business community a voice on the school board is to have them help in the decision-making process. And one example of how we can do that is through a strategic plan. All good businesses know how to write a strategic plan for their business to be successful. And so they can give that input to a strategic plan for the school system. As a result of the failed millage a couple of years ago, the Blue Ribbon Task Force was formed. And the Blue Ribbon Task Force was a really good start where the business community, parents, educators, people from the public came together and looked at what are the issues facing our school system. And they came to some realization about what's going on in our school system and made some recommendations. And that's what should be continued with a strategic plan and possibly some kind of advisory council from the business community. And this would give the business community a voice in our public education system and in the decision-making process. Another group of stakeholders that needs a voice in the decision-making process is the educators, the professional educators. Common Core is not the biggest problem in our school system today. Discipline in the classroom is not the biggest problem in our school system today. Lack of parental involvement is not the biggest problem in our school system today. Losing teachers left and right is not even the biggest problem in our school system today. The biggest problem locally, statewide, and even nationally in public education today is that the people making decisions about public education are not listening to the professional educators hired to educate in the classroom. And if you solve this one problem, if decision makers listen to the professional educators that were hired to educate, then all those other problems would be solved. We don't hire accountants and then not listen to what our accountant tells us to do. We listen. It's the same thing with professional educators. They were trained to teach our children, and we need to listen to them. So the second group of stakeholders that I think is very important that we give a voice in the decision-making process are the professional educators. That has started a little bit, well actually it started a long time ago, back in 89, 90, with the formation of the Employee Representative Committee. The Employee Representative Committee is a representation of various employees from the district that come together on a regular basis and advise the school board on various issues. I still think more could be done in some kind of formal way. We need to include board members in this Employee Representative Committee so that board members can actually sit with the educators and listen before they actually make the decisions that affect some 19,000 children we have in our parish. And then finally, the last group of stakeholders I'm going to talk about today is the public. It's you, the people here that care about education. Y'all need a voice in the education system in Terrebonne Parish. And that voice can be given through school board meetings, through talking to your school board representative, electing school board representatives that you know will be your voice for you. That started with our movement toward giving you a greater voice has started with improving how we handle our school board meetings themselves. Now on the school board agenda, all recommendations that will be voted on at a school board meeting are published on the agenda prior to the school board meeting. That gives the public an opportunity to know what we will be talking about. And if they would like to voice an opinion about that topic, they can come to the meeting, and whenever we make a recommendation, we always go to the public and allow the public input on those recommendations. More can be done still. Our school board meetings the agenda can be rearranged in a way to give the public a greater input in that, and that needs to be addressed at some point. So these are some ways that we can give the public a greater voice in the decision-making process. So 4 years ago, District 5 chose me to be their choice and be their voice, and I would like for District 5 to again choose me to continue to be their voice on the school board. I would like to close by thanking the Houma-Terrebonne Chamber of Commerce for hosting this tonight. I would like to thank the library for allowing us to use the facilities. And I would like to thank each and every one of you sitting in the chairs who gave up your Tuesday evening from 6 to 7:30-ish because I know each and every one of you care about public education in Terrebonne Parish, and that's what's important tonight. Thank you.